Hey guys, Cam here from PhoneDog.com, and earlier this month Microsoft sent me the Surface Pro 3 and a Lumia 930 with the aim for me to find out how they work together. Now, I've reviewed the 930 in the past and it's probably one of the best Windows phones that's ever been released. But how will it work alongside the Surface Pro 3 to give you a sort of seamless experience of Windows? What are the comparisons? What are the similarities? Do they work together very well at all? I wanted to find out and bring you this video. Now, with Windows Phone 8 and Windows 8, Microsoft has tried to create this sort of seamless experience and ecosystem. Both Windows Phone and Windows 8 use live tiles as sort of their start screen or home screen, and you can pin your contacts to the home screen on both of them. So, if you're connected to social networks like Twitter or Facebook, whenever your friend posts an update, you will see it on the live tile on your home screen, and that's the same on the PC and on the phone. So it doesn't really matter where or when you look at your phone, you will see the most important updates from the people that you care about the most, the ones that you have chosen to have on that home screen. And you can pin web pages to your home screen as well, so you'll have dedicated live tiles to specific websites that you like to go to a lot. It saves you having to go into the browser and then manually type it in or search through your tabs. You can just press on the shortcut or the live tile on your home screen and you just go straight there. And that's the same on both devices. One feature I found really useful was the tethering. Now, if you go into the Windows Phone, into the settings, and then into internet sharing, switch it on, you'll see that your phone now becomes a personal hotspot. And then if you go to the Surface Pro 3 and look for available networks, you'll find it straight away. And when I did it, I didn't even have to put the password in. So you just click on it and it connects and you use your phone as a hotspot. And that's really, really useful if you're in an area where there is no wireless connectivity. If you're away from home and you've got 3G or 4G coverage, you may as well use a hotspot, well, use your device as a hotspot, and you can use the Data Sense app to kind of see how much data you're using to make sure you don't go over your allowance. One really cool feature, at least in theory, is Internet Explorer sharing or syncing. If you open tabs on one device, you should be able to see them on the other one. And that's the theory. In practice, they didn't always work. Sometimes there would be pages missing, or sometimes there just wasn't anything there at all. It was quite frustrating. I reset devices to try and make it work, and it sort of did, but also sort of didn't. Now, I had much better luck working it the other way round, so I'd open up pages on the Surface Pro, then go to my Windows Phone, search for available pages, and choose Other, and then I'll see the pages that are open on my Windows Surface Pro. And they showed up pretty much every time in a list and I could see them, so that wasn't a problem. And this is very similar to the way that Apple does iCloud tab syncing or the way that Google Chrome does a similar thing. Except it didn't really work as well as the other two in my experience. But still, it's there, it can work, it just needs a little bit of refinement. It's also worth noting that your device does save passwords and it will sync them across Windows devices, as long as you're signed in with your Outlook account or your Windows account. And there's also OneNote and OneDrive to think about as well. If you've got anything stored in OneDrive in the cloud, or if you've got any notes saved in OneNote, it'll show up on all your devices. Now, of course, there are Android and iOS apps that do the same, but with all these sort of features all tied together, it does make for a pretty compelling experience. Both devices also have reader view, so if you go to any websites that are particularly difficult to read because there are ads everywhere or pictures everywhere, or it's just formatted really funny, the reader view on Windows Phone and Windows 8 strips it down into a sort of really easy to read page, almost like a book. And in almost every case, it made the page easy to read, or easier to read. It took away all the distractions and just let me get straight to the article. Now, sometimes with some sites, the formatting was a little bit funny and it would ignore some of the line spacing, and I found that even with PhoneDog's site. But in most cases, it worked really well. Now, of course, there's a lot more that Windows Phone 8 and Windows 8 does together, but those are kind of the highlights that I wanted to bring you. It's Microsoft's attempt at making an ecosystem, and relatively, it's pretty new to the game. If you compare it to Apple, who has always been about hardware, software, ecosystem services, all that kind of stuff all tied together. They've always been that way. They've been doing it for years. They had a Mac, and then they had iTunes, and the iPod tied into iTunes, then the iPhone, then iCloud, all sort of tied in together, and they just gradually keep on adding different services and hardware to that core ecosystem. For Microsoft, for years they were just making PCs. And at one point they were making Windows mobile devices, but after they died off, they had to sort of reinvent the way they were doing things. And so with Windows Phone and Windows 8, it's relatively a new thing, using the OneDrive cloud system to make it all kind of work together. So of course they're going to have teething problems and bugs. And once they get ironed out, it's going to be a very competitive and very compelling solution, at least for people who like Windows Phone and Windows. Do you have a Surface Pro 3 or a Windows 8 PC? Do you use a Lumia device as well? How do you like them working together? Let us know in the comments below. Or get me on Twitter. I'm at phonedog_cam. And as always, I'll see you again soon.